You just did something absolutely super cool. You hit play on TechVibe Pittsburgh to get your very own front seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, where I've been telling stories across Pittsburgh's tech industry for coming on 3 decades now. On this episode of TechVibe, we are thrilled to welcome back Jay Noschese of T-Mobile to our Huntington Bank Studios. Jay dives into the cutting-edge advancements of T-Mobile's 5G network, which now covers an astonishing 99% of the population. From network slicing to 5G standalone capabilities, you'll learn how T-Mobile is leading the charge in reshaping connectivity and enabling innovations like never before. And if you keep on listening, you're going to hear stories of how customers like the PGA and Formula 1 are leveraging T-Mobile's 5G tech to push boundaries, innovate, and create new tangible value. T-Mobile's 5G tech isn't just faster, it's smarter, more dynamic, and it is built for the future. So keep on listening to see why this is the most exciting time in connectivity and why Jay couldn't imagine a more thrilling moment in his career. Let's jump into the conversation right now. So Jay, I'm just so happy to be reconnected with you again here in the Huntington Bank Studios. It's been almost a year since we last hung out. Thanks for making the long drive from Ohio over here to talk about all things T-Mobile and 5G and just some of the awesome innovations that you guys are up to, some of the amazing customers that you work with. So we got a lot to unfold today as far as that goes. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm thrilled to sit here and have this conversation because I was thinking from when I was here the last time, the stuff that we've done, and I'm so excited to share.
That's why it's so much fun, because how fast things change. And it's funny, when I think about a year ago, that doesn't seem like a year ago to me anymore. It's like, oh, was that 3 months ago or something like that? It's kind of crazy. Before we jump into that, though, let's talk about, who is Jay? And also, really, how you fit into what's going on within T-Mobile. You're doing some really neat stuff. I think you get to have a lot of fun doing what you do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very blessed to be in the position I'm at with T-Mobile. So, as a reminder, I'm part of T-Mobile for Business, and I'm part of a solution sales organization that is called the Advanced Network Solutions.
See, the fun stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is really transformational stuff. So the ANS team, as we're referred to, really is a group of about 70 specialists. And we get involved with clients or potential clients that when they're looking to do business with T-Mobile, we make sure that they have the coverage to support everything they want to do with T-Mobile, be it indoor, outdoor, combination of both. Do that. And then the second part of our roles is really to work with them in a consultative phase to really educate them on what 5G can do and this 5G Advanced can do to help them transform their business for these mobile devices, because we're living in a mobile-centric world.
We are? I didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's so crazy how that's just the given right now. And why I find it so amazing, I think people don't realize is the power of what T-Mobile brings to the table. Everyone knows T-Mobile for consumer stuff, right?
For sure.
But the power of what you're doing for business, to me, is what gets me really excited, and it goes so deep with you guys, which is why I love hanging out with you, because you get to talk about some of the cool ways you're helping not just businesses, but really big businesses who cannot afford to go down, for a second, do what they got to do. So absolutely, I'm just saying, I'm always impressed.
Yeah. And most people still don't realize how T-Mobile differentiates themselves, right? But if you look at my role, I have a team of those 70 specialists now. We've broken out and carved a group of them out that focus just on healthcare, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about that. Most people don't realize that our 5G is different. And, I always kind of bring it down to the simple fact that you typically have a device in your hand that has a chipset in it, and then it talks to those cell towers that everybody sees. But what people don't realize is on the back end of that is the intelligence of how that network works, which is the core of that network. And, there's 500 plus carriers globally out there.
There's that many?
There are.
Wow.
There's about 50 that have embraced this next generation of cellular technology called 5G standalone or 5G advanced. And that standard is based on governing bodies, the GSMA, the 3GPP. That says, this is the future of cellular technology. This is the standards. We just can't jump in and create our own network. We have to base this on standard. So those 500 and so global companies, there's about 50 to 60 that have embraced this next generation of technology. There's only 8 that have turned on advanced features like network slicing. And we're the leader in that in the world and the only one locally who unleashed these feature sets in 5G Advanced.
Wow. Yeah.
So when you see what this network can do, it really unlocks things that you could never do before with inside of cellular technology.
It's so interesting because I think about like the technology that just completely changed an industry based on 4G back in the day. You think about like it was all about like Uber, right?
Yeah,
and
application-based.
stuff like that where like they couldn't happen without that. You look at what the ability that 5G brings to just amp that up and what can be created on top of that platform based upon its capabilities, to me is very exciting. And we're starting to see that, as you're going to talk about today, is how people are just building really cool stuff because of these advanced 5G platforms. I would say they're so advanced, why don't they call them 6G at some point?
Well, the path to 6G is actually through this 5G advanced architecture.
Okay.
So you can't.
So there is a 6G then.
And it's all going to be based on this 5G advanced, 5G standalone architecture.
Right.
So you can't really leapfrog it. We're just a little bit ahead of everybody else with whatever the standards are going to be. So you imagine you take this great 5G advanced network, and then who knows what AI is going to play in from intelligent routing, optimization, and some more of these feature unlocks that you can get now with this cellular connectivity.
So you get to have a lot of exciting days doing what you do because you're literally working with some of the most advanced technology and seeing how it can just push the limits of things and create some real good, for lack of a better term, which is just got to be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'd be fired to come to work every day if I were you.
It is. It's probably the most exciting time of my career. It really is.
100%. Like I said, it just keeps getting faster, better, like all those superlatives. And so let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned the word slicing. You got me interested in this. So like what I've heard about this a little bit, and obviously with T-Mobile leading the way in this, can you tell me and through me, our listeners, about what is this slicing thing? It sounds very cool.
Yeah. So if you look at this, what we've done with this 5G advanced network, the G standalone, this core, right? Well, first of all, for the listeners, I want to let you know that we actually have this built out to cover 99% of the population today. This isn't like a tomorrow technology.
So this is usable right now?
Yeah, we've got the most robust network out there. In fact, we were just voted here within the last few months as the actual best network in the country now for voice and data and highway miles covered and so on. So we've got 99% of the population covered. And maybe we could talk about this as well. We also embedded satellite service into the network with a relationship with Starlink, and we commercialized that back in July. So for that 1%, if you're in the middle of the mountains or you're out in the middle of the ocean,
that is crazy.
Now get a signal come in, your phone defaults down to a satellite phone, which is super exciting.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But network slicing.
Yeah.
So we talk about this advanced architecture allows us to do things with wireless and cellular connectivity we could never do before. So imagine that the new network is an 8-lane highway.
Okay.
And this SA advanced architecture allows us to go in and, like I said, unlock feature sets and actually touch the wireless spectrum. And now we can optimize it based on a use case. So if you think about yesterday, you would just subscribe to a wireless plan, whether it's voice and data, and you hope it works. I call it spray coverage and pray it works.
Spray coverage,
right?
All right.
But now we have
the shotgun effect or something like that, right? Okay.
So now we have this 8-lane superhighway of pure 5G from device to core and intelligence. So now I can go in and I can grab a lane of this. I can grab a slice of this spectrum.
Okay.
And now I can optimize it. I can go in and give it quality of service. I can adjust upload speeds for higher upload speeds.
Yeah, how many different things can you adjust within each one of these lanes then?
Yeah. So there are attributes that you can do.
Okay.
Right? So if you think of that, the SA architecture on the back end can do dozens of different types of optimization. But what we're looking to do is commercialize these different slices of the network so we can give it a feature set for the use case that you're trying to solve for or subscribe to. So you think of voice applications where you need that high quality of service, right? You think of a broadcasting slice of that. For broadcasting, as you know, it's about the upload speeds, not the download speeds.
Exactly.
Back, I get a great use case.
Okay, Well, we got use cases to nerd out on. Absolutely, yeah.
And then priority service. So now I can also take that lane and I can segment it from other traffic in our network, which is another slice that we've done. We call that T priority for first responders. So we had a big announcement recently on a solution that's based for first responders, that you put a device in their hand, and it's on a slice of this network, and it has priority for voice, priority for data, but it also is intelligent enough because of this SA attributes that in times of congestion, it can actually knock other devices off the network. So if you think of times of need for first responders, when you're going in there, you're not just competing now with all the general traffic.
You're saving lives at this point because you're getting something through
Yep.
that much faster.
Yeah, and so that's a fantastic example.
So the first responders have to be pretty stoked to have this at their disposal, knowing that like when they're using this, it's an emergency. It's just like pulling all the traffic on the side of the road when the fire truck comes blasting through, right?
And we worked heavily with them, and with the state of New York, we made a big announcement with them back earlier this summer that their first responders are going to be moving to this technology. So you think of the confidence they have to service that and the coverage that they need to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's a fantastic solution that really delivers true outcomes for, those folks out there servicing us and taking care of us.
Yeah, so my key takeaway from this slicing thing is like literally like depending upon what your needs are, you can get exactly what you need to be optimized for what your use case is going to be.
Yeah.
And that to me is just like, that's got to be game changing out there because I think sometimes people have to be kind of that square peg in a round hole type thing. Yeah, you can kind of jam it in there. It fits. Hey, it's working. But the idea that you can really tailor something down to a need is cool, which probably leads me to like some pretty cool use cases we could talk about around some of this because as we were kind of talking about this ahead of time, like there's some neat stuff that T-Mobile is up to that I can't wait to learn more about this because I love learning. I get so excited when I learn about how like, it's really ethereal to talk about these technologies. I'm trying my brain to think about how does the slicing thing work? That's okay. The engineers, the women and men figure that out real fast, but real long, should I say. But at the end of the day, I like seeing how like a business is using it or how first responder is using it because it works. So what should we start off with? I'm going to let this open to you. Pick one. Pick a winner because you got many.
Yeah. So when we look at this network slicing, obviously my team's focused on healthcare.
Yeah, let's go there.
And there's plenty of things around healthcare, but I think there's two or three that are pretty powerful out there in the market now that most people don't realize this is a great example of network slicing. So golf fan at all?
I'm not, but I mean, I think I like to watch it to relax. But I know how big it is, and especially when it comes through Pittsburgh, when it came through with the Open this past year.
Out of Oakmont, what a fantastic
that blew.
event.
I mean, when I look at like the amount of the media lift for that thing, I was like, wow, impressive.
What a fantastic event.
Yeah.
The one thing that people don't realize about events like that is because it's a live broadcast, the amount of technology needed on the back end, right?
100%.
And up until about a year ago, all those cameras and all that technology has all been wired. So if you've ever been to an event like that, you don't realize it, but you're walking over cart paths and just wires everywhere. So with the power of this 5G advanced network, for the first time ever, we were able to do a live broadcast for a professional sports event, and we started the PGA event at Valhalla last year.
Okay.
So we stood up what I like to call a bubble of coverage.
A bubble of coverage.
Over the 13th hole.
With a slice.
With a network slice.
Exactly.
Right? We knew what the characteristics and what the requirements were to do a live broadcast. When they talk, glass to glass, that's from the camera to what you see on your TV screen.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that term, glass to glass.
Glass to glass. There's certain requirements and stuff like that. So long story short, we had some of the folks there that had Sony cameras with a T-Mobile 5G chipset in it, optimized back to our network slice that we built over the 13th hole.
Okay.
And for the first time ever, we were able to do a live broadcast over 5G.
Wow.
So they were able to walk around and do that because we could optimize the network for those upload speeds to get back to where they were processing them.
How excited was the PGA to do this?
Yeah, it has sparked an industry of broadcasting.
It has to. I mean, the flexibility that provides, the way you can provide better content.
Yeah. So we were able to do that at last year's Valhalla for the 13th hole, and we actually had a 5G drone over the practice facility. So you'd see some stuff on TV. This is brought to you by the T-Mobile Advanced Network Solutions 5G drone. So this year at Quail Hollow, I think is the name of the course down in Charlotte, we were able to do the whole back nine to give them more flexibility. And then at the Ryder Cup this year, I believe it was the Ryder Cup, the day after was breakfast from Bethpage. And the entire broadcast was done over T-Mobile 5G Advanced Network Solutions wireless. They were able to do them all over our 5G network. So think about the flexibility to do that. And that shows you the power of what this wireless technology can do from bandwidth, capacity, low latency, and to be able to optimize that. So,
I'm thinking about trust.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is like this broadcast has to broadcast.
Yeah.
Nothing can go down, right?
Yeah, so we've commercialized recently a commercial offering. It's a broadcast slice. So for those in that industry now, it's another, I call it a tool in the toolkit. Right?
Exactly right.
It doesn't fit every application, everything like that. But if you have that there, it does give you.
You have it available. You know how to build that and make it work.
So that was a fun one. I think the other one I'd like to talk about a little bit is what we did for Formula One recently.
Okay, because Formula One is just
blowing up.
It's amazing. I mean, that is just the. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do with Formula?
So started in Las Vegas last year, and we have another race coming up here in the next few weeks. So obviously the track's built there, downtown Las Vegas on the Strip, and you can imagine when 400,000 people converge on downtown,
exactly.
the Strip for this event.
Oh my goodness!
So we set up a bubble of coverage.
There you go.
Right?
I like this. I like the idea of this bubble of coverage.
Yeah,
like bloop.
And we optimized our network for a few things. We did some of the communication between the race teams. But if you think about the Las Vegas Strip, it's busy all the time. So now you imagine 400,000 people converging on that area, and they're all holding their phones up, recording it, right?
Absolutely.
And think about if you want to go get a beverage or a T-shirt, the chance of you to get something to run through on a point of sale with all the bandwidth constraints. So we actually created a slice for the point of sale.
Really?
So for all the
cool.
vendors around that event, they had a device with a T-Mobile chipset in it, and we optimized it, and we grabbed the lane, we segmented it from the rest of our network. So while you have, 400,000 plus with all their phones in the air doing all that stuff, if you wanted to go grab a beverage, run a transaction for merchandise, all that stuff ran through without a hitch.
Yeah.
So that allowed
having that dedicated slice,
Yeah,
it didn't have to worry about competing with the other activity on that channel.
So think about that, how that can impact the retail for times of congestion, for mobile, for kiosks, stuff like that. So you can take those small transactions, put them on a slice of the network, and it's optimized so those transactions go through.
It probably does a lot for security as well, too.
Yeah. So if you look at what we're doing around the cellular technology, we've actually created a security slice that I can put a chipset in a device, and whether that device has a client on it or not. So imagine a camera sitting somewhere. I can put a T-Mobile chip in it. When it goes to authenticate on the network, I can lock it down, secure it, route it wherever it needs to be. So from a security, it's the highest amount of security now from a cellular perspective. And that doesn't even touch on the inherent security of a 5G advanced.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you're putting
a
lock on top of a lock on top of a lock, I think, at that point, which is amazing. I mean, so speaking of security, I think about like healthcare and the idea of things having to be secure around that particular area. And of course, you with the healthcare team.
Yeah.
Tell me about what's happening in that area as well, because I always get excited when I hear about the healthcare stuff, because when it comes to technology and it literally like saving people's lives or easing their suffering, easing their pain, like to me, like that gets really exciting to me, because I mean, it's great to be able to tweet something or whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Like, I love that type of technology, but I love seeing technology when it's really helping people at some of the worst times in their life sometimes. Yeah,
I think right around the last time we talked a little bit about Boston Children's Hospital. Mm-hmm. So as it pertains to healthcare, the team that I'm aligned to, we cover all of healthcare, whether it's a provider, it's the payer, the med tech, the pharma. It's such an ecosystem of what's out there. But if you look at the provider space, right, the facilities, the healthcare, hospitals, and so on, they have a large need for connectivity. And at the end of the day, T-Mobile sells connectivity. We feel it's the greatest cellular technology there is in connectivity. So they consume a lot of connectivity. But more importantly, in the provider space, we have what I like to call the patient journey. So if you think of any patient that comes in, you want a great patient experience where your devices work there and you can communicate with your clinicians, the nurses and doctors and so on. But then as you transcend through your journey within healthcare, we want to make sure that there's great mobilizing of clinical devices. So if you think that you're in there and you're having something done and you have a clinician by your side, and a clinician is really a nurse, a doctor, and somebody who's taking care of you, the access is they carry devices that have, the medical information and the records at your side, no matter where you're at, whether you're in the room, whether you're in a hallway, whether you're in a lab, kind of to monitor you inpatient.
Right. Oh,
it's not just a room
Any place
anymore.
you could be in that continuum, right?
And then it can actually follow you now. The technology can transcend into remote patient monitoring. If they send you home with a device,
even better yet.
On 5G,
yeah.
so all kind of seamless. But coming back to the challenge that Boston Children's had is they have several thousand clinicians, that work in multiple facilities in Boston. And their biggest challenge was the connectivity on their devices. Their former devices were on Wi-Fi. And, Wi-Fi, as great as it is for untethering connectivity and allow you to go sit over here or there, it was never designed for what we call devices in motion, things that move.
Okay.
Because of the way it propagates coverage.
Exactly.
It's cones of coverage.
There can be little dead spots sometimes and things like that we've all experienced, right?
If you go between access points, you have a tendency to have those devices stop and reset. In healthcare, that's not good because you can have a clinician coming out of an emergency room in a chat session with a doctor, and they go down the hallway around the corner, and if they lose connectivity,
not good.
It's not a good situation.
So this allows them to always be connected.
Yeah. So Boston Children's, they went through a transformational journey to modernizing their clinical workflows, and they wanted to put a mobile device in each of the clinicians' hands. So they were going to get down the Wi-Fi path, and they were concerned with the connectivity on that. They heard about what we were doing in the healthcare space. They had a consultant that was working with them that introduced us. And several months later, we said, our network can be optimized to do that. So I am pleased to report that here we are. They went live in June of 24, and I think we met shortly after that.
I remember we were excited to start seeing what the results going to be. So it's been that year, man.
So now
Tell
we're
us.
14, 15 months in, and we have not had any customer impacting connectivity challenges with that network. It just works. And now we've got these 4,000 devices that are, traveling through just about 3 million square feet.
Exactly, right.
Campus buildings, some are an hour apart, and it's seamless, secure connectivity. But here's the fun part about this, Jonathan, is now that they've kind of layered in this, I call it a 5G magenta Lego board and connectivity in the facility, right?
Magenta, of course.
They can still wire stuff that doesn't move.
Surely, right.
Wi-Fi has a place, but for those devices in motion in healthcare on that patient journey, they now have this magenta Lego board of connectivity. So we solved for mobilizing the clinical workflows, but now it's opened it up to where they can do some bring your own device for the clinicians. They can do connected laptops. So when the clinician comes in on a laptop with a T-Mobile 5G chipset in it, they don't hit Wi-Fi anymore. They just stay on 5G. They go home, they're on 5G. They go
they're on 5G the entire
conference
time.
On 5G, seamless, secure. But now it's opened up for those next generation of things that people think about it, the robotics. They're looking at augmented reality for virtual training now because they can do headsets. Now I have the low latency that they can roam, that area. And
so this is really just the beginning in so many ways. I mean, obviously, as the technology becomes even more powerful, as their needs become more crazy, for lack of a better term, I mean, this is just the beginning of some really transformative stuff.
Yeah. So, for those folks out there, whether they're in healthcare or within any industry, is, up until this 5G advance, the connectivity technology has not really changed in 25 years. I mean, really since Wi-Fi.
Okay.
LTE came in, and it gave you some capabilities, but it wasn't a jump in technology like this, because now you've got these unlocked feature sets where you can go in and optimize and slicing. But for any industry out there that has devices in motion, devices that move, a cellular approach to that, it's real.
Yeah, to use it in a hospital setting where I mean, I can't think of a place that's more critical. High security, it just life's literally on the line, and you're having that work. That's awesome. Like, oh my goodness. I mean, this is what's so cool about your story is, I mean, you're talking about stuff like that. You're talking about like Formula One, the PGA. I mean, these are huge platforms that are using your technology. And I just think about like just a regular old business out there, for lack of a better term, and what they can build on top of that to make their business better and to ensure better connectivity, enhance customer experience, like whatever that may be. And I think to know that's coming from T-Mobile is pretty exciting because I still say so many people just see T-Mobile and their initial thought of the commercials they see for the consumer stuff. But I feel like, man, it's your business stuff that's really bringing it home for you guys.
Yeah, and the consumer, it's a fantastic experience,
100%,
right?
yeah.
Because you have all those attributes of this advanced network. But on the business side, the average person doesn't know. So
that's why I like telling these stories. That's why I think it's so much fun to be able to talk about this, because this is really impactful stuff. And it's all around slicing, which sounds really cool.
Just to be able to slice the network.
Exactly right.
A slice.
Yeah, you get a slice. Now I'm thinking about pizza. Yum.
And if you think about what the Major League Baseball is doing with the balls and strikes, there's a little bit of 5G technology behind that now.
Okay.
So whether it's major sporting events or broadcasting companies or healthcare, we're doing a lot around the oil and gas segment. We're doing a lot around the technology segments, the retail segments. It's really for those mobile devices, and we live in
we're a connected world. That's what it comes down to. There's nothing that is really not connected anymore, and the idea that you can get as stable and as specialized through what's T-Mobile's doing with its 5G is pretty amazing stuff, Jay. My goodness.
And as you layer in this T-satellite, it seems like I can't get through a conversation. And I ran into some folks yesterday that said, "Oh, you work for T-Mobile. Tell me about this satellite."
Yeah, really?
To be able to embed in the DNA of Starlink that's just inherent in the network. So go do the things you want to do. And if you have a device that has that feature set on it, and you will default now and be able to text, and now it's starting to do some applications. So it's really connected anywhere.
It's fascinating stuff. What a cool conversation.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like I said, you get to have way too much fun doing what you're doing as far as that is. So, Jay, once again, thanks for hanging out with me. When conversations like this, you just got to keep listening to TechVibe, because I get this front row seat with folks just like Jay Noschese from T-Mobile for business. And I emphasize on the for business side of that thing, because I think we often forget. Man, I just learned so much, and thanks for being part of this today, Jay.
Hey, always a pleasure being here.
You are the best. Hey, everyone, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening.